I'll sit down.
Yeah.
We're on.
Oh, we're on. Okay, quick.
Hello.
So look, we wanted to just do a couple of quick video clips showing the very basics of RPM. And look, we're not even trying to cover all the different types of children, all the different learners, just some basic key principles for when you first start.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, first things first, you always position yourself on the right of the child. This is just to engage in the reasoning side of the brain. Don't think about it too much, just put yourself on the right side of your child or your student that you work with.
Yeah, and make it easy for yourself as well. Make sure you're in a position where your child is kind of boxed in.
Mm-hmm.
So at the moment, I can't just get up and wander off without actually pushing past Alex.
Usually like the corner of a room is a good space with a table in front and then you kind of standing at that side. Usually to start off with, we'd stand up. Here though, I'm just not in shot if I stand up. So I'm sitting down. But it's a good idea to stand up as well because then it's all the focus is on the RPM rather than like the social conversation.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So standing up is
I found when I first
way to go.
started with Chris, I was actually standing slightly behind him as well. So it definitely, there wasn't this interaction with me, facial expressions or anything like that.
I definitely made the mistake at the start when I first started learning. I'd get too kind of involved in the person's face and then they use it as a massive distraction to kind of stop kind of doing anything that was too challenging for their body, and they'd be like, oh hi, and I'd be like, oh hello, no, happy birthday to you, and don't engage in it. Just keep it really focused. Okay, the next thing is that we think is important is choices. And especially at the start, you want to make choices very state-asked. So state some information, and then the choices that you ask is going to be directly about that information. So for example, today we're going to learn about history, History. What did I say? We're going to learn about, rip the paper up. Oh, that's a bit big. Did I say we're going to learn about History, history, or did I say we're going to learn about arts? So, and then we'll talk about that bit in a minute. But you see, you're not asking any kind of massive open questions at the moment. You just want to get that teach ask, you want to get some flow going on, and you want to know that your child's pointing in the right place as well. Otherwise, it might just be completely random. And if you kind of go in straight away with open things, then you can't make that assessment.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Alex has two things that you ought to be aware of. She wrote down and sounded out the word history. We're going to talk about History, history. So that becomes like almost a worksheet where you're going to have the key things written down. And then she also wrote out the two choices, sounding them out as she was saying them. The first one that she wrote down was history, and she placed that choice on the left-hand side. This is really important. Whichever choice you say first goes on the left. The reason is that you read from left to right.
A lot of the children that I work with don't even look actually, so they could be kind of looking up here. So it's very important that you're saying, is it history or art? So even if they then aren't able to look, say they're visually selective and they're looking at the corner of the room, they know that history is over there and art's over there, so they can choose even if they're not looking.
Okay, so
that's a very common mistake actually for
we
beginners.
cannot emphasise that enough, because you're so concentrating on your lesson that you sort of and then maybe further into the lesson you might think, oh God, well last time I had the right answer on the left, so this time I must swap them round. But always the one that you say first, whether it's the right or the wrong answer, goes on the left.
That's why planning is really important at the start as well. You want to plan which choices you have for each kind of question, and then make sure in your plan you've kind of altered and kind of varied which way you've asked it. And then if you have it on your plan, you don't have to stress about it in the moment.
Exactly.
Just follow your plan and then you'll be fine.
Yeah. And I still do that now. If I was working on a lesson with choices with a child, I would still have to have it planned out, because it just becomes quite difficult to make sure that you're randomly varying where the right and the wrong answer is. The other thing that Alex did, if you notice, was that she used a pencil to write the choices, and it just makes a really nice noise, and you can kind of hear it when you're writing. Which helps helps to engage the child's auditory learning channel and helps to sort of almost pull them down to where the work is happening.
Everything we're doing here is to draw the learning channels in, so we're making something visual here, we're writing it down, we're ripping the choices, like that's visual. The sound of the ripping, the sound of the pencil on the paper, even the movement side, the ripping, the writing. So we want to kind of engage in as many channels as possible, really.
Okay, so let's just talk, we'll go back now. Alex has done she wrote down the choices and she placed them down. Right, so let's just maybe do just a little recap and go through exactly how you put the choices down and so on. So we'll maybe just do that bit again.
Yeah. I'll carry it on. So we've done history, and today in history we're going to talk about the Fire of London. London, London. Which fire? The fire of? Oh dear. The fire of China, China, or the fire of London, London. Now when I place the choices, I'm not going to place them in front of Sue. I'm going to place them midline to a pointing hand, which is this one. So as she lifts her hand up, you see her elbow here. If she just let it drop, she would hit the middle of the choices. If you position them in front, some children would be able to do that if they've got quite good generalised motor skills, but a lot of children I work with, though, they're not actually able to pull themselves over to that way, so they'll just go for the easiest option there. And kind of in the same way, don't put them too far over this way. You want to make it equidistant between the pointing hand, not the body. Okay, so then you're going to put the pencil in the hand. That acts as like a tactile prompt, and the prompt to point, the prompt to do something. The pencil's in the hand, and then you might have to give some sort of verbal prompt, especially when you start off, like, go on, choose, which one is it? That's it, keep it going. There you go, London. And then you're going to stick the choice, and take the pencil out because the pencil's the prompt. Don't do this. Blah, blah, blah. Because the pencil's, whoa. Then you'll never be able to get anywhere. You have to take that pencil out straight away. The pencil's only in the student's hand when it's time to point, otherwise it's out. So let's say I give the pencil to Sue and Sue's going to start nibbling on it or something. Oh, this way. Keep it going. There you go, very good. Because as soon as she starts doing something else with it, the pencils, she's going to every time and start doing that with it. You want Sue to know in this situation, the pencil is to point. So as soon as she touches the choice, that's it, take the pencil off. Yeah, the Fire of London, very nice. And then you're going to stick the choice onto the piece of paper too. If you have a dispenser, that's good, but we just ran out today. Didn't think about that one. But the sellotape, though, also kind of gives that auditory kind of feedback. Yeah. And then, and sticking it down adds that kind of visual aspect too, so draws that in. And also it leaves a record for you. It's not nice if choices, like the child's doing all of this work and it's like, oh well.
You'll just throw it all away, You notice if you ever watch any of Soma's sessions that as she completes a sheet, she generally sticks it up on the wall, so the child can see that they've actually done some work and made some progress. Which is nice.
What not to do, don't take the choices from your work. I've just done it here just as a quick example, but I would be normally creating like quite a nice worksheet and then have another piece of paper for the ripped choices, because otherwise you're left with situations like that and it's a nice worksheet, well done. So keep your worksheets looking nice. So they're just a few kind of tips, really kind of targeted to children with more generalised learning channels in like auditory side. So like have a go with this. If that doesn't work, don't worry, there's always a way. These are kind of the kind of mainstream kind of steps. So just a quick summary. We've said the things that we've covered in this little session are positioning yourself on the right hand side, making it so that your child can't easily escape, maybe working in a corner, using state ask, and making it, really straightforward, no big open questions, what are we talking about, history or science, give a chunk of information, then state ask.
You start off by tearing your choices just to give that auditory stimulation, and make sure that where you place your choices, it's midline to where the hand would fall.
There we go. Right. So just here, and it will take you a bit of time to get used to it.
Yeah.
And some people, just so you know, just adding a little quick note, some people do naturally point more this way or more that way, so you'll work out roughly like where the hand falls in the middle. So say if Sue pointed inwardly, okay, maybe that's midline for this person, but try though and just keep it like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and make sure that once the choice has been, you might have to give a few verbal prompts. Go on, pick. Go on,
just
touch it. Yeah.
Get it.
Then once they've made the choice, remove the pencil so this doesn't become an object to play with.
And then move on to your next
move
kind
on
of
to the next
piece
point.
of information
Yeah.
and repeat.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks
I think
guys.
that'll do.